Ever since I reviewed Earthworm Jim 3D, something just didn't sit right with me, like it was a disservice not to talk about the first game.
When I reviewed the Bubsy series, I did them in order, which was ironically from best by Bubsy standards to the worst. But with Earthworm Jim, I started with the worst, and that's not a good way to start when talking about a dead franchise. If you've watched my Earthworm Jim 3D review, I went over the history of it, how the toy company Playmates wanted their own intellectual property after seeing the success of Sonic the Hedgehog. Doug Tenenbaum created the character and Shiny Entertainment developed the game.
I feel like I owe it to Earthworm Jim. It was such a huge part of my childhood, just as much as Sonic was, and I always meant to review this game, but I just kept putting it off.
This is the first in the series. A regular Earthworm called Jim gets mutated from the radiation of an ultra-high-tech, indestructible super space cyber suit that was created by Professor Monkey for a head that gave it to the interplanetary bounty hunter Psychro, so he could deliver to the evil queen pulsating, bloated, festering, sweaty, pus-filled, malformed slug for a butt, so she could take over the universe with it, but the suit was lost in transit. Jim overhears Psychro talking to the queen about Princess What's-Her-Name, and Jim decides to save the princess.
And after all these years, I still wonder what kind of drugs these people were on when they made this game.
If this is the first time you're hearing about this game, firstly, where have you been? And secondly, the Earthworm Jim franchise is known for being off-the-wall bonkers with surreal and very absurd humor. This isn't really a run-and-gun game like Gunstar Heroes or Metal Slug. This is mostly a platform game as the ratio of platforms to enemy is like 5-to-1. And there's a sense of exploration as the levels are very big in size, but it's all very linear as there's only one path to the goal.
The path that's laid out for you just doesn't feel very fun. It's like I'm riding 3 different elevators and alternating between each one on different floors.
Now it could be because I know the level layout so well after so many years of playing the game, but I also played Earthworm Jim 2 and I find the stages in that game to be a lot more fun, and while linear, it felt more diverse than its predecessor. It's really good graphically and the sprites are animated very smoothly, giving it that cartoon feel. The level graphics and design are still really impressive even by today's standards, however, the music isn't all that good. And by that, it means that it's just really showing its age.
By the way, this is the Genesis version, which is the superior one, although the special edition is technically better.
The Super Nintendo takes third place. It's missing the intestinal distress level. The graphics are brighter, which really doesn't fit the game as the colors don't look as strong as they do when compared to the Genesis, but that's just an opinion. The music is better than the Genesis, but the Special Edition's music is the best. I did notice that the Super Nintendo version has some frame rate slowdown, and there seems to be frames of animation missing. And the Super Nintendo is zoomed in closer, making it harder to see incoming enemies.
I've played every version of Earthworm Jim. The Special Edition is the best, followed by the HD, then the Genesis, and finally the Super Nintendo, and all the portable versions suck.
All the games share at least a minimum of 7 levels because the SNES is missing one. There's a hidden level in level 5, Buttville and Down the Tubes are broken up into 2 sections, and each level has a transition level called Andy Asteroids. The Special Edition has an added level called Big Broody, and it shares an extended Junk City with the HD remake. All the levels are very well imagined. The names of them are puns, but at least they match the level, unlike the Bubsy series. Like the Planet Heck that's filled with demons and lawyers, or Intestinal Distress which looks like a network of organs, or the Planet of Mucus where you challenge its mucus-based leader to a bungee jumping contest.
If this were any other game franchise, I would not believe that I just said that.
But this game has one problem. Despite all the wacky cartoon humor, surreal environments, and well-programmed game, it hasn't aged all that well. And it really shows that it hasn't aged all that well when I played the HD remake. This is one of those games that you played and have fond memories of, but never touch again to preserve those memories. Because when it's not as good as you remember, it feels like those memories are tarnished. I also played Earthworm Jim 2 before finishing this review, and that game has aged very well and is still as good as it was back in 1996. It's also not as long and incorporates different kinds of gameplay, so it doesn't get boring or wear out its welcome.
So when it comes down to giving this a rating, I don't know. I feel that whatever rating I would give this game would not be fair, so it's whatever you want it to be.